This year is only this year. You're not deciding what you will do for the holidays forever. This is the Mindfulness and Grief Podcast, and I'm Heather Stang, author, yoga therapist, and thanatologist. You didn't choose grief, but here you're choosing how to show up for yourself, and I'll guide you along the way. In each episode, you'll experience practical tools and sound advice to help you tend to your loss, honor your love, and rebuild a life where grief, hope, and meaning can coexist. This time of year comes with so many expectations: parties, dinners, family gatherings, invitation from friends who care, and from people you barely know. Even in the best of circumstances, the holidays can feel overwhelming. And when you're grieving, those invitations can land in a way that feels heavy, overwhelming, and even painful. This is part of a series designed to support you through the holiday, and each week I'm offering practical ways to help you care for yourself in a time where the world wants you to be festive, even when your heart is heavy. If you're already receiving invitations, you might notice a growing sense of dread. You might feel torn between wanting to protect your energy and wanting to show up for the people who care about you. And underneath it all, you might be wondering, am I making the right decision? So let me say this clearly. It's okay to say no. You are allowed to protect your energy. You are allowed to choose what feels supportive. And you're allowed to let this year be different from other years. There are many reasons why saying no feels hard when you're grieving. One understandable reason is the fear of missing out. You might worry that if you turn down an invitation, you'll feel even more isolated. Watching the world carry on without your person can stir up sadness and longing. And a part of you might wonder whether being in the room might feel better than staying home. And I can tell you from experience, sometimes it does. And sometimes it doesn't. And the uncertainty alone is exhausting. Another reason we find it hard to say no is pressure from other people. Well-meaning friends or family might say things like, "You'll feel better once you're there," or "it'll be good for you." And even though they're trying to help, it can feel like they're overlooking the depth of what you're carrying. They don't mean to minimize your grief. They just don't know how different the holidays feel after a loss. You might also struggle with saying no because grief amplifies change, and declining an invitation can feel like admitting that life will never be the same. It can feel like another loss. It can remind you that old traditions might not fit anymore. And it's hard to face that truth, and even harder to say it out loud to someone you care about. And then there's the fear of hurting someone's feelings. After a loss, our relationships can feel delicate, more precious, and you might be worried that saying no will disappoint someone you care about or create a chasm between you. And the truth is, compassionate communication strengthens relationships. When you speak honestly about what you need, you give people the chance to love you in the way that you need to be loved. And then there's the voice of internal guilt. Grief can make you feel like you're failing at life. Saying no might feel selfish, even though it's an act of emotional care. Resting when you're hurting is part of tending to your grief, and grief is not your fault. But how you care for yourself is something within your control. And for many of us, myself included, the people-pleasing can make it even harder. You might have learned that you need to keep everybody comfortable even when you're running on empty. You might feel responsible for the emotional tone of a gathering, but boundaries are not rejection. Boundaries are a form of self-preservation, and they are also a way of teaching people how to love you. When you're grieving, it's actually an important time to strengthen the relationship we have with ourselves. That sometimes means leaning into our boundaries. It means saying, this is what I can do and this is what I can't do right now. It's actually not cruel. It's kind to both of you, and it's honest. And the way you deliver that message makes all the difference. That in mind, I want to offer you 4 steps to help you decide whether to say yes or no to a holiday invitation. These are simple inquiries that you can return to anytime you feel overwhelmed by an invitation, whether it's the holidays or a spring wedding or a birthday party, anytime after a loss. The first step is to assess your emotional capacity. Do you have the energy for this event? Take a moment and picture yourself there. Imagine the sounds, the faces, the movement in the room. Notice what happens in your body when you imagine this. Do you feel yourself tensing up? Do you feel a sense of comfort? Are you likely to come home feeling drained or supported? Your body usually knows the truth before your mind can wrap itself around it. The second step is to consider your ability to be present at the event. Will you be able to connect with others in a meaningful way? Or will you feel like an observer on the outside of everything, trying to hold yourself together? There's no judgment here. Sometimes being present is impossible when you're grieving. And sometimes there's one person or one conversation that makes the whole night feel doable. Only you can know which is more true for you. The third step is to weigh the significance of the event. Some gatherings happen every year and will happen again. Others might be more meaningful. Maybe someone is traveling from far away. Maybe it's the last time you'll see someone who's nearing the end of life. Or maybe it's connected to a tradition that your loved one cared about, and that helps boost you up. These details can help you make a wise decision about what matters most to you this year. And finally, reflect on your emotional state today. Grief isn't steady. Some days you have more resilience. Some days the weight of everything feels unbearable. You might wake up on the morning of an event and know immediately that you're not able to do it. This is normal. You're not being unpredictable or flaky. You're responding to a real emotional experience. And while step 1 was about imagining your emotional capacity on the day of the event, it is really important to check in with yourself right now, because if you're feeling overwhelmed or out of your window of tolerance or under pressure, this particular moment might not be the best time to make a decision. You might want to push it till tomorrow or the next day, or in a moment where you feel more calm. Once you've moved through these 4 steps, you'll likely have a much clearer sense of whether you want to say yes, no, or maybe something else. If you decide to say no, you can do it kindly and honestly. You might say, "Thank you for inviting me. I'm not able to attend this year, but I appreciate you thinking of me." Or, "Large gatherings feel like too much right now. Could we catch up one-on-one another time? Maybe coffee this Friday." Clear, compassionate communication protects your energy and your relationships at the same time. If you do say no, I find it is really helpful to let the person know that you do want to see them and to actually schedule it. This keeps a supportive relationship intact, Of course, if this is the kind of person you want support from. If you decide to say yes, set yourself up for success. If you feel safe enough to drive your own car, do that so you can leave when you need to. Let the host know you might stay only for a short time. Choose a comfortable spot in the room where you can take a few breaths if emotions rise. In fact, you might talk to the host ahead of time and ask them if there's a quiet room that you could retreat to if you need some time alone. You can also identify one or two people that you feel safe to talk to. You don't have to explain anything about your grief or how you're feeling unless you want to. And remember, maybe is always an option. You can call your host and let them know, right now, I can't make a decision. I care about you, and this event sounds lovely, but grief is unpredictable. And so is it okay with you if I let you know the day of, or do you need an RSVP ahead of time? Here's something I really want you to remember. This year is only this year. You're not deciding what you will do for the holidays forever. Grief changes things, but it doesn't freeze them in place. If you're making decisions for children or other family members, help them understand that this year is shaped by love and loss, and that future years may look different. The reality is, humans are wired to survive grief. We don't always know how we'll get through it, but we do. If you listen to the last podcast, you know that my family had a major loss way back in 1977 when my uncle died right before the holiday season by suicide. And we've had many more losses since then. Over time, we found our way back to something that looked like a normal life. Not because grief disappeared, but because as humans, we adapt. You will adapt too, and you deserve to take care of yourself along the way. If you'd like support in planning your decisions this season, then please download my free grief-sensitive winter holiday planner at heatherstang.com/holiday help. It includes a place to list your yeses and nos and maybes, along with gentle prompts to help you navigate the season with more clarity and compassion. I'll also send you some emails that coach you through these different steps and give you extra insights into how to navigate loss through the holidays and beyond. I'll put that link in the show notes. This brings us to the end of today's episode of the Mindfulness and Grief Podcast. If you found it helpful, please follow the show and consider leaving a review. It helps others find their way here when they need support the most. Then head on over to heatherstang.com, where you can join my Awaken Grief support community free for 14 days. You'll meet with me and other kind-hearted members several times a week. Get access to the Mindfulness and Grief course, plus guided meditations, journaling prompts, and more to help you navigate grief. If you are a grief professional or volunteer, you can also learn about my Mindfulness and Grief Coach certification. I'll teach you how to share the Mindfulness and Grief system with others, and just as importantly, how to walk the talk and care for yourself along the way. I'm so glad you chose to show up for yourself today. May these teachings benefit you and those you love. Be gentle with your heart and come back soon.